Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So the news today is a new drop from Gods Unchained, actually starting on the 27th of September. If you're watching this as I'm recording it, sort of thing, next week, 27th of September is this new drop called Divine Order. And it's not just a new drop of cards, it's actually quite a significant sort of rebalancing of the game. Which I'll talk a little bit about, but let's just sort of go through the nuts and bolts of it. So, Gods Unchained, this sort of pretty well-known blockchain game, did a really big pre-sale of cards back in 2018, 2019. I think it sold 6 million cards, I think. Those cards have since been minted from Ethereum, reminted onto the Immutable X blockchain, which is the blockchain that the developers of Gods Unchained Immutable have created. It's a layer 2 solution, works with Ethereum using ZK rollups. So all those Gods Unchained cards have been reminted onto this new blockchain, which is much faster, no gas fees, all the usual sort of stuff we expect from L2s, and that's sort of a foundation for the kind of reboosting of Gods Unchained. But as well as the sort of the blockchain stuff of it, there's been some issues around the design as well. So this is why this is quite a big event for Gods Unchained. So obviously, as part of that, there's going to be a whole bunch of there's a new bunch of cards and some game design stuff happening here. The big thing here, say 27th of September, there is the early bird special, 20% off for a limited time. So you're going to be able to buy new card packs and chests, and that will be the cards that will be the Divine Order kind of set, I suppose. So over 190 new cards. There's been a big tweak of the kind of god powers, which is sort of the sort of powers that you choose a god every time you play a game, and they have sort of inherent powers, and also this keyword sort of thing as well. So Gods Unchained always has great artwork, so we have these sort of great characters, and I'm not going to go to the keyword stuff. This order keyword is basically you can exempt some of your cards or your opponent's card from combat, so they can't be attacked but they can't move. So it's different. There's different sort of strategies in which that might be useful. Here are some of the cards. There is the typically what we expect. There are some drop rate stuff. So there is a one-of-a-kind mythic card. So there's a tiny chance that this mythic card will drop in any of the packs. And once that mythic card's found, there'll be these sort of 6 rat-themed, god-themed rat promotional cards. So that's sort of the bonus sort of stuff going on here. So obviously this one will be a very valuable card. I'm assuming, yes, it's one of a kind, so I'm assuming there's only one of them. Here's the drop rate stuff. This is the mythic and the promo rates, so obviously a very tiny percentage of that's going to go. And here's the drop rates for the different packs, although I'm not quite sure. I was looking at this before, and I don't quite understand how that adds up to 100. But anyway, so that's all happening on 27th. Let's have a look in a bit more detail about what's going on with this sort of how the game design has changed, really. So what we have, the problem with Gods Unchained was they were really successful in the early days, but then they'd never made a trading card game before, and trading card games are the hardest game to make. Not anything with blockchain, but they're just really hard games to make. Hearthstone's there, pretty popular, but it's not like a Call of Duty. They are really hardcore games, even if you make them accessible. And you always have this problem between making it accessible for noobs like me to play, and then making it exciting for like hardcore Magic the Gathering people to play. And it's hard to do, almost impossible, really. And we've had loads of trading card games, nothing to do with blockchain, that have just been total failures, even from very, very clever people or experienced designers. And the Gods Unchained team, they were pretty new to games. They'd never made a trading card game before, and they made some sort of early sort of decisions, I think, about how they were going to make their cards. And then, of course, they minted them all on the blockchain, and they sort of embedded some of the stats into those cards, which then sort of makes it very difficult to sort of change the game, because you've basically got immutable sort of assets on a blockchain. My feeling, sort of reading between the lines on Divine Order is a way of sort of trying to reboot the game and giving it a foundation to actually be the game that they hoped it would have been in sort of 2019. And as I say, they've got this game designer now called Chris Clay, who worked at Magic the Gathering on worked at Wizards of the Coast on Magic the Gathering Arena. So he really knows trading card games, and he's with his team there. They've been trying to think of a way of sort of rebooting the game, I think, for a while now. And to do that, you have to make changes. So this is sort of, some people may complain about this, but you need to make changes to make this game actually sort of work in the way it was designed to do. So I think this is what they're doing now with this Divine Order kind of situation. So a big issue here, obviously got a new set of cards, but another big issue here has been these god powers. So for any time you sort of play the game, you choose a god, and the gods have powers. And the problem's sort of been that the god powers have been too strong. And as I say here, that draws the focus away from the real stars of the show, the cards. So the god powers are designed to provide a mechanic to let the players tweak their game on the fly. So basically, it allows you, like in any game, you sort of want people to make interesting decisions. That's the Sid Meier thing, isn't it? About good game design. It's making interesting decisions. And the problem with these god powers is because they're too strong. They've been like similar to playing a card. So basically, you've been able to sort of play a card or been able to play a god power, and those two things have been sort of synonymous. And that means the god power has sort of been irrelevant because you want that sort of impact in the game to be in the cards, not in the god power. You want the god power to be a different sort of decision making. So they've had to sort of scale that back. So with Divine Order, they've changed it. So there's only 3 god powers for each domain, and they are lower power and less complex. So this makes choosing a god power simpler and the choices you're making clearer. It also makes the first screen a new player sees half as scary. So this is a big issue now. Gods Unchained, if it's going to be a popular game in the blockchain sense or in any sense, it needs to get new players in. I don't think there's been a big push at the moment for new players in the game at the moment, or for the last year really. So this sort of reboot gives them a chance to start marketing to new players and just say, you like Hearthstone, come and play this Gods Unchained game. And they've got a much more balanced sort of foundation in order for newbies to sort of get involved and start working out how this game works. We actually own NFTs on a blockchain, and you sort of play the game and all that sort of stuff. So I'm sure they say here, there is going to be like a backlash because there always is when you change something. So the hardcore players will say, well, you're making it all for the casual audience, and it's like, some degree it's like yes, but if we don't get new players coming in, then the game's going to die. So you need to have new players coming in, otherwise your audience just sort of disappears, doesn't it, over time. And they say also here, simple game pieces do not necessarily mean a simple game. So chess is the obviously sort of example. So this is a change to foster a healthier community. So there's some sort of stuff here. So the 3 options say have a smaller but richer range of decisions you can make using these god powers. And because they're making these across all these different god themes or sort of classes, I suppose. There's quite a lot of redesign here. So nature, we can see these sort of this is what the powers are now. We can kind of see their the stuff you're doing is well, even you can tell if you don't know the game. You're not doing these massive big things. You're giving 1 strength and regen to one of your creatures. That's not a massive. It's not a massive change. Or here you're adding 1 oak spear guard to your hand. So this is the so you can tell this is a fairly low grade card because it's got if I get this right, it's got 2 health and 1 attack. I can't remember, it's very rare it goes. It costs 1 mana anyway, and it's got I can't remember 2 attack and 1 health, I think. So there we have the war gods. So those are the powers there. So generally you're sort of you're summoning a character, or you're buffing one of your characters. We've got the magic hand here, light, deception. This is a bit more complicated. Draw 2 cards, then shuffle 2 cards into your deck. Death. There we go. So those are the new powers, and combined with these new card sets, I think that gives them the chance to reboot. As they say, with the reduction in power, interesting to see what decks pop up in the meta. So the meta is basically the way people choose their favourite, most effective sort of card combinations. Always iterations going on. There'll be more changes. So we'll see what happens. But I think it is positive that Gods Unchained is making these changes. I've sort of been looking out for this for a while now, wondering how they're going to try and reboot it. So it's good to see this is happening. And I think more positively, this is a situation where people are now interested in blockchain games more than they were certainly 2 years ago. So hopefully, allowing this game to be more accessible to new users will allow Gods Unchained to sort of build on its legacy, because it is pretty well known certainly in the blockchain game space, and I think even sort of outside to a degree. So they can sort of build on this sort of legacy that they do have as being like a OG sort of blockchain game, and then try and sort of use the new interest there is in the genre, and see if they can sort of build a good community around what they've got with Immutable X, which is a pretty decent sort of blockchain or L2 scaling solution without the problems of Ethereum, and also all the great artwork and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see what happens. Remember, 27th of September for the cards, if you're interested in getting involved in that. But thanks for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World, keeping our nose deep into what's going on in this crazy world. Please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you again soon.